Welcome everyone to a surprise Thursday news day where we actually get the data mine to discuss as well, and we have the gang back together. So both Dream and Sinzar are here. Hey, you two!
What's
It's
up?
been a while.
It's been a while. I don't know. I'm speechless. I am tearful, or I'm all teared up at this reunion.
Well, it's mostly the time slot for me. This is actually better if like you want to make it like a more common thing. This would be a better time for me personally.
Oh, nice to know. Nice to know. This is actually not a bad time for me either. But I think like Dream, it's really late where you're at, right?
It's not too bad. It's just there's more of a risk of other stuff going on, interrupted and stuff at this time. But we'll
Nah,
see. I might just need to
interrupted podcast is
hastily
better
mute.
than no podcast. All right, so
Anyway,
listen, I was just saying to Sinzar, my life has been so chaotic. I have not been like I've just been able to log into the game, collect rewards, and do like maybe a raid or so a day. I know nothing what's going on, and Sinzar scared the shit out of me by saying counter is dead. What do you mean by that, Sinzar?
Well, they just put out a news in game technically, but we can still see it during maintenance. Yep. So they are basically the final nail in the coffin for counter. They are putting a hard cap of 5 counters per turn going forward.
Oh shit! But that I mean that also has implications on Chow.
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Chow won't be countering to max. You won't be filling a Regina-sized LB gauge with Abigail counters. Riku is dead, etc., etc.
Holy shit! I mean the biggest thing I'm upset about is really Riku because that's been actually a character I've been enjoying. I pulled Zack specifically for her, so that sucks.
Hmm.
I think overall this is very unhealthy for balance, though.
You think? Okay, why?
Yeah. Well, like as someone who didn't have her, it was very obvious as like, oh, you just like normally there's like obviously a pool of good units for any given event, but you could at least make a pretty good attempt with any sum combination, even if you were missing any one or two. But with the Riku ones, it was just like, oh, if you don't have Riku, you rank below everyone who has Riku. Just
Oh yeah, sorry, I
automatically.
misunderstood you. I thought you were gonna make a play for that the 5 counters max is a bad balance change.
Oh no, I think this is quite positive. I think
Oh yeah, I agree.
like
So I actually
sure
agree. I
it
enjoyed
nerfs
Riku.
some things, but
Yeah. I mean,
uncapped
I
basic
enjoyed
attack
Riku, but I
counters
just
were
didn't
never
enjoy when
healthy.
everyone else was excluded. Actually, I fully agree with that.
But
Yeah,
And you
for
never
me,
had Riku, right?
Riku being killed, I could care less. Like I didn't like the strategy, but it didn't bother me either because like dark visions, whatever. But for me, the unfortunate thing of this is the side effects. So, for example, like I mentioned, the Abigail counters, that's also taking a hit,
yeah,
and that I'm not as happy about.
yeah, the support side of stuff getting nerfed is a bit more annoying. I think Chao's morale gain being nerfed is actually kind of positive. Like he's had a long time to shine, but it means sort of morale gain on other units can be sort of balanced a bit better now.
Hold on. Also, a question, follow-up question: is it 5 max counters per unit or 5 max counters per turn?
Well, it's definitely not per unit. The way I'm reading it is it's 5 max per source. So if you, for example, give Chow like a double Blizzard orb, it should be the way I'm reading it, 10 counters per turn. But
Yeah, I
that's
think it's each ability, and so
mhm.
yeah, Blizzard Orb would technically, in fact, actually, like in some situations, it might even still work because I think technically the effects are separated on Blizzard Orb. You could, in theory, get 5 physical and 5 magic counters per Blizzard Orb per turn.
Ooh, that'd be useful.
So
Okay.
it might not even be entirely dead, but it's just
Hmm.
the hard cap kind of it removes a layer of that RNG from it, even if it's still usable, and it makes it more predictable. So honestly, yeah, I think this is a change.
Yeah, but I mean, if it's 5 per Blizzard orb, so would Riku then technically be able to do well in the maximum case? Then it would be like 25 counters, like 5 of her own, and then 10 per Blizzard orb.
I
If
don't.
you're loading up Riku
She
with like
doesn't have
counter
any
and
in it.
Oh, she doesn't
yeah,
have innate. Okay.
no, if you load her up with like every single slot with counter, so we're talking like 2 Blizzard orbs and like 4 Sabin TMRs as an example. So your max is what would that be 6? That'd be the max of 30. That's
30
still
physical and
pushing
then
it.
another.
Yeah, because then you're losing all your slots to that. It would have to be a race she naturally has killers for. You're also losing things like the orange jug and the counter chant
Mhm.
up stuff like that. So it's I
Yeah,
think it's going to be
it
pretty much
might.
Riku's not going to work.
Yeah, it's much more bounded now, and especially when it's heavily on one particular damage type. But it's still enough to, yeah, I think Riku is the main one that I see a lot less use, but I think there's enough that a lot of the support ones are pretty useful, still counter a lot of times.
I mean, if Abigail can counter 10 times, then that should be more than enough, right?
Yeah.
Same, like almost same with Chow. Of course, Chow was countering like 55 times or some shit, but you would, I mean, you would, it's not like you're not gonna get morale from Chow now.
Yeah, he'll still generate quite a lot.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. Well, I mean, I'm sad because I liked Riku and Zack as a unit, but I fully agree that it was. I don't like exclusion tactics. If you don't have Riku, you're screwed. And I was, if you remember, I was super vocal about that when fucking Riser came out. Even though everyone had Riser, so that was a less of an argument back then. But yeah, it's still a shame. I'm still a bit sad.
Mhm.
I'm happy.
Yeah. Well, I do think it's better for the game in total. I do. Did anything else happen while I was away? You know, like any other huge developments in the game?
mean-
Well, depending on your speculation, on Tuesday, the news according to the news we got on Tuesday, they were taking away not Abigail, what's her name? Nora's fragments from the step up, and she was
Oh.
not going to have fragments available, period.
Wait. So she's a premium?
No.
Well, she was
But-
being charged a premium, but no, she's not.
Well, I mean, what's the distinction?
Well,
she's still had all the normal banner format and pity amounts and stuff. There was just no shards in the coin shop, but that's been hastily backpedaled.
mhm.
Okay, it has.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was something they were planning to do to screw poor players over,
Well,
and yeah.
Supposedly it was just a mistake, but the fact that it wasn't, there was no shards in the image for the banner for the shop either, sort of suggests that maybe it was Tinker Waters
Yeah.
intentionally, but that's can only be left to speculation at this point. But hopefully remain vocal anything like that happening.
I mean, that would be so shitty. Like that's the only. I've said this so many times before, even before NV. Like in this game, I actually enjoy pulling a random banner unit and then still having some use for them, even if it's only once. But if there's no shards in the coin shop, a unit that I get 30 shards for, I have to farm in the daily dungeon for 20 days. And that would also assume that unit has to take another unit slot, which probably won't happen. So I will never use that unit.
I've got an EX0 Zac right now, and it kind of fucking sucks.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, but for Zach, that's definitely worth bringing him to EX1 at least.
Yeah, I mean, in fact, he's probably still staying until EX2, but it means he's unusable for ages.
Yeah.
Basically.
No, I agree. And I mean, already they're doing the whole EX2 bullshit where the units are not getting their ramp until EX2, so you're kind of forcing your hand to go to EX2 regardless. So removing the shards that literally only helped you get to EX1, that would be really, like, I don't know. But hey, good news then. We got them back, right?
Yes. People spoke out against it on Tuesday. Then Wednesday morning, they put out the updated bulletin, like, nope, we're adding them back in.
Well, was it we're adding them back in, or oh, haha, silly users, they were meant to be there?
It was a mistake that they were missing.
Yeah.
According to the news, it was a mistake from the start. Whether you believe that or not, up to you. So
listen, I don't believe in Santa, and I don't
listen.
fucking believe in Gumi. All right, like, oof, mythical fucking creatures. Okay, but good. I'm happy. I'm happy that the community has enough of a strong voice still in this game to make a change. Good. That's really good.
In some areas.
Yeah. All right, but so anything else, or should we jump into the unit?
We finally got Kunshira's STMR upgrade to make True Dual Wield gearing, especially Magic True Dual Wield gearing much easier, which is nice.
Oh, what's the upgrade?
100% attack and Magic True Dual Wield on it, and I think slightly higher flat stats as well.
Oh, wow, that's a pretty decent materia.
Well, it's an accessory, almost even better.
Oh, even better. Yes, for sure, even better. Nice. Okay, cool. Very cool.
So that's pretty.
Yeah, true dual wielding gearing has been a pain lately. Like especially if you don't have that new losers materia, which I do, but I realize it's very restricted. It's Veritas of Frost, right?
Yeah, I mean attack's not too bad between that and the Niders boot. They're still good as an accessory, but magic is really rough to gear true dual wield for.
Yeah, you basically
So
use up
having
all slots, all materia
Yeah.
slots just to go there.
so having sense for that is
Yeah, yeah, very nice, very
then
nice.
again, our new unit is a magic true dual wielder and seems to just get free full 400% on her own.
Of course,
So
of
she
course.
doesn't give a shit.
Okay, so nice segue into the unit, I guess. So it's Ruin Explorer Nora. I was gonna say Nora the
Mhm.
Explorer, but I think that was just like the
I
login
mean,
bonus.
yes, everyone is going to call her Nora the Explorer. That is
Yeah, I
fine.
mean, it just makes sense. So she is a magic true dual wield DPS unit. I've heard, Sinzar, that her damage isn't that good.
In Dark Visions, absolutely not. No, she's a pretty bad Dark Visions damage dealer. I guess she'd be worth the party slot on a Thunder focus team just because she does have the 150 Thunder amp. But you're probably
And
not going to take her to
Imperial
mix her into like a normal team and imbue her, although you could.
I mean,
But
Yeah,
like,
a lot of her mod is tied up in morale scaling by the looks of it.
yeah, because I just to give listeners a mental image, Nora is on DV like below Crown, Physalis, and like she's in the middle of the pack really, and doing like 455 on your sheet, Sinzar, compared to like Rain who does 641, Laswell 618. I'm not gonna
yeah,
compare anyone to Genesis
Yeah.
because fuck that.
It's a bit of a special case.
Yeah.
mhm.
But interesting mention though. So in Cow, she's not that bad actually. Like she is actually pretty strong. She's
Pretty up,
weaker than
pretty up
Duane.
there.
Yeah. But seems to still be pretty good. And considering that Cloud is still a decent unit in Cow, damage wise, she could, who was it that said, yeah, she could find a slot in a Thunder team just because of that.
Mhm.
Mm.
And the one thing in Clash of Wills about her damage you have to keep in mind too is just her being on the team is also boosting some of your other damage, depending on who they are. If they're an LB damage dealer that scales on morale, Nora just being there automatically boosts them up because she has a stackable LB modifier boost for the entire party.
Oh wow.
On her SLB. It's pretty
Mhm.
substantial too. It's more 25 base, but up to 50 at max morale. So especially Chizuru and 2B both like this a lot because they get to double dip as well and get an extra 100.
Wow, that is really good actually. Holy
So
crap.
they're quite
I
nice.
might actually just pull for her because she is a Thunder unit and I would get a
Yeah.
chance to use Zack, who's now completely
Yeah.
useless because they killed Riku.
And an Imperial Field on a damage dealer is also pretty handy. Nice slot to have because those are
Yeah, she
still
has
fairly
two.
rare. Yeah, fire and light. Well, it's one field, but Imperial's both elements, so
Have
that
we ever
might be
seen
handy
that
for
before?
mixing as well. I think the new Soul just got one as well for Ice and Dark,
Ah,
and
okay.
in future there's a couple more, but I think
Yeah,
they've only really just started.
there's some really good ones in JP. Vanille's is 40% in peril to 4 different elements in the same field,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it gets better.
she's very good for enabling mixed element stuff.
Yeah. And she can also do fire, meaning like if you don't have rain, which I don't, and you're running with say Duane as your leader in Cow, she could still find a slot given that nice fire resistance reduction,
Yeah,
right?
potentially. The main annoying thing with fire is it doesn't really have great options for AoE amp these days.
Yeah.
It doesn't think 100, but
Yeah, her personal fire support is really no better than just taking like 2B and going fire at the same time because it's
mm,
just a 45 amp. That's it.
other than like her that LB buff on her SLB and the field, she is
Yeah.
generally a very selfish damage dealer without that much utility.
She has two
Quite,
AoE
she's
killers though.
Yeah, but that's very baseline, I
It
would
is,
say
I
at this
guess, yeah.
point. Like that's what same as what 2B has, and you don't really consider her as having any utility.
Yeah,
But
she does have 100% Omni killer to the whole party if you can get her to counterattack. It's on her normal
yeah,
attack for 1 turn only.
another one of those.
That's
Hmm.
that's
But
pretty nice. I always enjoyed that on Chiz actually. Have used
kind of
that a
handy
couple of
to have.
times too.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, like in this sort of between like the kind of selfish damage dealing and like the way her Grandis and SLB work, it feels like a very similar kit design to Dwayne, really.
Yep.
Me at least.
But I mean, I like her. I think it's an interesting unit. It's not the top of the DPS, but she still just only falls behind Duane and Ibarra,
Yeah.
which is
I think
still
she
good
is
damage.
fine and useful and good as most Giliacs are, but is nothing incredibly standout or must-have. And I kind of appreciate that some of them are like that. Like
Yeah.
you'll always be happy to pick her up, but she doesn't feel like absolutely necessary to chase to be able to and stuff.
For sure.
And I
And to
still need to
players like
save,
me,
so.
yeah, and Dream, to players like me that are incapable of delaying gratification and just pull on everything, might not have rain, and just having options for having strong leader skill enabled units in DV is still pretty nice, to be honest. Like at this point, a Nora team with like Sylvie, so a lightning team with Nora, Cloud, Sylvie, and Zach might actually be my best option.
Yeah,
Maybe.
That'd do fairly well.
The only problem is, I guess, Ibarra wouldn't get a leader skill, but maybe, yeah.
She might not come, but
Still, it's an interesting unit. I like it. And so, how do you use her? You don't burst with the LB, right? Because her SLB is just a buff, right?
her
Well,
regular LB is her best Clash burst, I believe.
yeah, so if you want to do the max burst in Clash, you would need to be EX3, and it would still take you until turn 5 for the max burst. She's definitely basically identical to Dwayne in the setup. You need to SLB first, then you need to 150 amp the turn after, then you do the regular LB for your big burst. So, it's really awkward, and I honestly don't love these last two units for that mechanic. Like, I mean, it's bad enough needing EX3, but then needing EX3 and then needing to do a setup turn after that is like, come on. It's frustrating.
On the other hand, though, she does lose less than 10% of her like modifier from that LB if you don't use the SLB. So in Clash, when there's only like just a set damage number you need to meet rather than doing as much as possible, there's a good chance that in a lot of situations you can just forgo the SLB if you don't need it, or if you need to burst earlier, and you'll still get most of her damage.
That's kind of true, but not really, because the problem is, if you're taking her to Clash, chances are very high she's EX2 or EX3, meaning whether you want it or not, as soon as turn 4 rolls around, you lose access to your limit bursts. You have to SLB on turn 4 or 3, and then you have to do the setup afterwards. Like, that's like, if I had the option to SLB or LB, it'd be totally fine. I just skip the SLB buff and we'd be good.
That's very
but
awkward.
Yeah,
SLB's replacing your LB has always been awkward. I still feel like I would like an option to choose when you have the SLB up.
For sure.
But I do think like what you're saying still makes sense, because Clash lately has been less about having to do absolute maximum damage. It feels like the damage cap has been, I'm not gonna say easy, but relatively doable. So you might not need that extra power just to cap, is what I'm saying.
That depends. So that is very dependent on, do you own like 2 of the 5 meta units? If that is the case, your damage cap is simple. But if you don't have one of those like critical Clash units and you try to go in with like an old school team of like, Sky, Roberta, Tsukiko, and Esther, like the damage cap is pretty hard recently. So there's this really big divide of the recent meta units and the old people.
Yeah, but you can see that in your sheet as well, right? Because the recent people are all at 700 or more damage, right? 700 billion or more. And then it falls off pretty quickly. Like,
it's also about like when you look at the sheet, it's about having a good leader skill to cover them as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there is still like a decent amount of flexibility. Like, sure, you need a couple of good like D units, but there's still a lot of combinations that you can slot together and still have enough overall.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, last one wasn't that hard, but I slotted it with EX1 Rain, who basically like hardly contributed his own stuff other than the leader skill, and then Sky and Chizuru carried the damage.
Yeah, exactly. That was also what I meant, because I saw a lot of people, using Chiz and so on. So like some of these units still have a lot of use. Yeah. But okay. So she's definitely not like the must chase meta unit. I definitely don't see that. Like, people can easily skip her if they already have, like, let's say if you have like Rain and Ibarra, maybe even Juane, then you're set, right? You don't need Nora.
Well, there is one thing that this we don't know until 4 hours from now. But she has a 200% accuracy buff for the party now. So there's a few scenarios here. Either the boss is tuned with that in mind, meaning if you're using a dual wielder like Dwayne, Rain, or whatever, then you're going to have that. Otherwise, the only alternative is using a 100% buff plus a true double hand unit like Sylvie plus a double hander. Then you'd have an equivalent. But if the boss, is going to debuff your accuracy by 200%, then she's going to be the only option to use dual wielders like Dwayne or Flaring Rain.
That's a very interesting point, and also makes me really fucking angry. They would put in one of those gatekeeping bullshit abilities.
I really hope they don't.
Yeah, because that sounds dumb as shit.
But I agree. But the alternative is, think about it though. So if the debuff is only 100%, then true double hand units literally have no effect whatsoever. Like no bad effect. It doesn't even bother them because they already have 100% accuracy. It's down 100, so they're at the same as a dual wielder. So it kind of has to be a 200% debuff just to have an effect. You see what I'm saying?
Guess. But it's only 5 turns too, so it's again screwing over people that don't have the right EX levels and can burst on turn 5.
She can recast it on demand. It's a permanently active thing. You can cast it as many times as you want.
Oh, I thought it was a passive ability that just triggers.
It's enable when morale gauge is above 0%, so it's clash only, but always available as an active.
Now I get it. Okay. Yeah, yes. So okay. I mean, I hear what you're saying, Sinzar. Like the way the ability is worded, obviously it is there to make it make it so that we have these opportunities where true dual wield can buff themselves with accuracy against bosses that debuff accuracy. And we've seen bosses that debuff accuracy before. It's just never been a problem because we've been bringing true dual wield units, and then we've been buffing accuracy. So that's really interesting, actually. That's really interesting. I mean, just out of curiosity, like if you had to gear Dwayne for true double hand, would that even work?
It'll be real bad.
Yeah, it'd be super bad because he'd lose his cap. He has no support whatsoever, and as it is, he already very much struggles to gear for this boss in the first place with his natural gearing. So going to a double hand, losing all those material slots for double hand, you're basically no. It's not
you're
work.
basically bringing a 2B instead, you're saying.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. But that's, I mean, okay. So she would kind of, if what you're saying is true, Sinzar, then maybe for this particular fight as well, right? Like, I hope this is not something common. She would kind of be the enabler for true dual wield units like Rain and Dwayne.
I mean, it wouldn't be the first time. We've seen multiple bosses that are just like, they're not impossible without the new unit, but like you are an uphill battle if you don't have the brand new unit.
Oh,
we've had that before.
But I've been complaining about that for so long when they do that shit. I hate when they do that. I mean, it's the same what you said before, Dream, about Riku. It's literally the same thing. It's like, oh, if you have this unit, it's going to be a fucking cakewalk. And if you don't, well, fuck you. So let's see. I really hope that's not the case. I just hope this is just a random buff they chose to add.
They just decided to go overboard with it, but hopefully 100% buffs, stuff like so, hopefully do just fine.
Yeah. Maybe it could be one of those things where the boss does something annoying on like a single turn or some shit, or like the turn after, and then she like Kaito, for instance. Yeah, like like Kaito makes life a bit easier because you can remove those buffs and burst a bit earlier, but doesn't really shut out anything else. So if they do something, at least hope it's something like that, and not like, okay, fuck you if you don't have her.
Mm-hmm.
You sound a bit hesitant, Sinzar. Do you have insider information? Better spill it now.
Well, I'm just thinking, like, there's definitely a lot of ways to do it to where you can push her without requiring her. For example, you can maybe make it like a 10-turn debuff applied on turn 1. That way the player has not a good option, but has the option to intentionally kill their party and bring them back to clear it that way. There's also, you could have it to where the 100% from Sylvie is good enough, but the boss does dispel your party because hers is a cooldown. So it would make Sylvie very awkward to use, although you could work around it. So there's definitely ways to make it to where it incentivizes Nora without requiring Nora. And
honestly, you know what the best thing would be? It would be to do like a 5-turn buff starting from turn 1 to the boss. Or, sorry, a debuff or whatever. And That way, you kind of lose the ability to burst on turn 5 if you don't have Nora, which still hurts a fair amount. But if you have Nora, you can kind of get that 5-turn burst in. That I feel would be like a decent trade-off.
Yeah, so
Totally.
as long as it like rewards you for having Nora without locking you out for not having her, I think it's fine.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I
Hopefully,
definitely
since
agree.
it's not the final boss of the season, it won't be too harsh, hopefully.
Yeah, let's see. But I mean, I just think it's nice that she has this area effect. Honestly, like I don't know why, but I'm so locked in on that. I think it's so nice.
Really?
Yeah, I don't
So
know. Well, thunder. Like first of all, lightning is okay. I mean, maybe you're talking from a place of big king, big dick sitting on your throne with all the meta units, But like having lightning resistance, like the only AOE amper I have is Sylvie. So this is
well,
nice for me.
it's just like we have two different units that have a better thunder field. Like, why couldn't she be 50 to lightning? Like, come
Yeah, yeah,
on.
but the two other
I think
units don't do
yeah,
shit in your party, though.
True.
it
True.
being efficiently slotted onto a damage dealer is the nice part here. I think even
Exactly.
if it's not the absolute strongest.
Like, I mean, who are the two? It's Sakura and is Dagger Amp or Imperial?
No, it's both Sakura's, the old one and the most recent one, Sakura
Okay,
of the Bulge or whatever.
yeah. So I mean, but you're not
But
bringing
yes, you
those because
kind
they
of
won't do shit in your party. So
yeah, well, you do sometimes, but yeah,
You
they
you
still
say
won't
that,
lose a lot.
and Sakura is like on one of my initial plan teams. Of course, she is in the slot that like says replace with Nora if I pull her. But
okay.
if I didn't pull her, she was on the team for no other reason than to have that field.
Okay. So reveal
Yeah.
to us. So you're planning a team. I'm guessing it's a lightning team because you're planning Sakura in it. So what
Well,
units are you
it
bringing?
is the best element for this clash. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually have a team, my final team that I've built and is now, geared and ready to go. It's actually all three elements, literally. Because my damage dealers are Rain and Dwayne, who have their own fire support and 150 amplifies. And then Melissa and Sylvie are both on the party for 100% amps to Thunder or Dark. So I am good to go for all three elements on the exact same team.
Wow.
put
You're not
Ibarra in
bringing
as
Ibarra,
well.
really?
Ibarra is not coming for me because I can't fit her because of EX levels. Because Dwayne is
Yeah.
EX2, and my Lena is EX2. Currently, Lena is my sixth party slot, and she's the drop her if I get Nora slot for EX2.
Oh, okay. Wait. So so you're bringing Lena and Sakura?
No. Sakura and Lena or Nora are in that field
Ah,
slot.
okay.
I
Okay.
assume
Yeah.
a field of some kind are going to be required, and those are my three options I'm rotating between depending on the party I go with. And
Yeah.
then Dwayne is also EX2. I could replace Dwayne, but he's really high damage, and I really do love Dwayne's his big Magnus burst that goes beyond the caps. I really like that. So I
Yeah.
kind of want to keep Dwayne around.
Yeah, but I just don't have him at EX3, so like it's
I
waiting
don't
for
have
that
them at all.
fucking. Oh, you don't? Yeah. Well, I mean, again, I guess not missing a much there. One big thing with Nora then is like if you're bringing both lightning damage dealers and fire damage dealers, she's gonna be really slot efficient, though. I just don't know,
My
like who
Ibarra is
are.
not even through yet.
Yeah, same.
And
I have like I have like the best units lately, like except for Rain, but they are all EX1. So yeah.
yeah, but I'll probably be trying to run quite similar to last clash, really, where I have just Rain, Chizuru, and Sky being lightning supported by Sylvie and maybe Sakura actually, because I did actually bring Sakura to last clash too.
But Dream, why are you like out of interest? Because you play this game a lot better than I do. But you're bringing Sky. I mean, I know you have 2B. Why would you bring Sky?
Because she's buffed by 500% by Rain's leader skill, and that actually makes her quite good.
Oh, but wait, Sinzar, are you counting that 2B has a 500? No, you're counting with 300 liters. Ah, okay. Now I get it.
Yeah, I don't have any leader skill that covers 2B.
Right. So if you had Drain or Nora, you would want to bring. Okay. Now I get it. Yeah, I was just worried
Yeah.
that I had missed something about Sky, like some secret buff or some shit. No,
But
okay.
no, I'm reliant on FFBE leader right now, so
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
2B
like
is
even
temporarily
Olive is
benched.
actually really good. Don't you have Olive?
Yeah, I have Olive. She's okay, but I find her a little bit lacking
Okay.
sometimes, and she's often just awkward to gear is the thing.
Yeah, I guess.
But yeah, I might bring her.
She's nice because she
I think
brings all the breaks you need.
yeah,
That's
I
pretty
think
nice.
well, I probably have Abigail doing that.
Oh yeah. I don't
Or-
have
She does
Abigail. Okay.
87.
Or Flaring Rain. Flaring Rain
Yeah,
is on
Rain
demand
also
85
does
too.
the same 85 as Olive. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I was trying to use Olive for a while on last Clash, but then I swapped for Sakura and it was slightly better.
Honestly speaking, the main reason I bring Olive these days to Clash is only if I need extra morale, because on her off turn she feels like either 500 or 600 morale, which is
Yeah.
Yeah, she does quite a
decent.
bit.
It's not the best, but it's good filler.
Yeah. Now that I've
I love-
actually got EX2 Rain for this one, that's going to be really nice because he just does like 1700 for free every turn with Will's card.
He's real strong.
It's interesting because also just to like when we're talking like casually on this topic, I'm just looking around at the different options you might have, and I'm like I keep forgetting that Sinzar your sheet is of course geared towards having all the best unit, because if you bump, for instance, Cloud Strife, who I was surprised was so high, but if he only gets a 300% leader skill, which is the only one I have for him, well that's not true. I have Zach, but you wouldn't bring Zach, I guess. 2B is actually better, as well as Olive. Like he falls quite far if he doesn't get the 500.
Yeah, I've actually struggled with the decision, should I apply Zach's leader skill to Cloud and Clash, and like it really is unrealistic to assume that, but at the same time, like as soon as I take it away, someone's gonna like message me like, I brought Zach, why did you do, I'm like, whatever, I'll just give it to him because
But I'm going to ask a math
make it
question
equal.
again, and love the fact that both of you are in it, because like on your sheets, Sinzar, right? You have two sheets. You have Cow Burst and DV Burst, right? But
Yes.
I mean, they are both technically the same. Like you assume a bigger stat buff in Cow than you do in DV, but in general, they should be the same. So like if you look at Zach, who's doing 573 billion first 5 turns, I mean, he would do more than a 2B with 300% leader skill, right? So
Yeah.
I'm not sure Zach would be
I
dead in a
mean-
slot, because you would bring him and Cloud, and both of them would do more damage than many of the other meta cow units.
The reason
it's
is
fine for a
Go ahead.
burst turn in theory, but like I think the two factors are kind of people just don't have them at high EX levels because they're just not as overall incentivized to pull,
Sure.
and B is that often most recent clashes there's also been quite a need for like some decent sustained damage to close out the fight, and a lot of these JP units after their one big burst really don't have much to do.
Yeah, they don't have shit. Yeah, that's true.
And have no support or morale gain to
Yeah.
do stuff on their off turns.
But in general, it sounds like my assumption is still true when it comes to the raw damage, right? Like I could take
Yeah,
numbers from the DV sheet and be like, hey, this is still a decent number, and I could put this unit in my cow team, right?
for the most part, but keep in mind
Killer gearing is sometimes a factor. But
Yeah, of course.
that too, but also keep in mind, on my sheet, there's different assumptions per tab, like really very different build rules. For example, on the class sheet, I don't include any kind of turn 5 or earlier burst. So, like, for example, if you gave Sky Titus's STMR, she'd be a lot higher on the class sheet. But the reason I don't include that on the class sheet is because exactly like Drain mentioned, phase 2 in Clash is almost usually more important than phase 1. So the damage matters a lot more in turns 6 through 10. So I just assume your best damage up through 10 turns, not just the first 5. Whereas in DV, turn 5 clear is fine. So they have all those temporary boosts on the DV sheet.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, but I mean, still, it's good to know that there is some type of comparison still to be made. Like some of these DV units can go into your Clash team and still perform decently. So for me, I mean, like again, going back to it, for me, Cloud and Zach might actually be the best option. Maybe.
And you can make those 5-turn buffs work in Clash as well, because a lot of the time you can do your like big score burst on turn 5, hit the threshold, and then you just need more sustained damage rather than another single massive burst for phase 2. You quite often do it that way, but you just enough units who actually still do useful secondary sustained damage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you also definitely can bring, non-clash units. For example, last month, people posted like videos and screenshots of Genesis solo capping by himself. One Genesis did more than 2.5. So
Genesis is
definitely
such a meme unit, actually. I love that.
He's good. He's good. That's why I used tickets for him. Got one copy. And probably never going to use them, honestly speaking, other than Dark Visions. But
Yeah, I guess.
God, I wish we hadn't skipped Medina as like a budget ice version of him,
oh god, I know.
because she's like fairly decent to be honest. But yeah, just got axed.
I kind of regret not like bringing that up when I talked about the stuff they're giving Carlet eventually, because I just forgot about Medina, honestly, and I wish I would have brought that up and raised awareness, whatever. But I forgot about her.
Damn.
Yeah, because she was supposed to be alongside like Deoxys at the start of Leaders and all of that side story and whatnot. Her upgrades, they're unfortunately just gone with the wind, like many other things.
Like many other upgrades that we should have gotten. We have been getting a couple of them lately, but still.
Yeah, at least like the Silver Crown system being actually like tied to events, we are getting them more consistently.
Yeah. I like that. In fact, I've been using I for two. Wait, is it 2 DVs? I think 2 DVs now. I've actually used the Dark Soul and Fina unit to cap the magic stage. So
What?
yeah.
Is that your best option?
I mean, dude, I have no magic options. Like it's who did I use? So I used Oliveira. I used those two, and I don't think I used anyone else on.
I thought you
Because
had
I didn't
Ayaka.
actually use. I didn't use
swear.
Ayaka. I know I didn't use Ayaka on the latest deep to cap the magic stage. I don't remember who the. I know I had
Wait.
3 damage dealers,
But
yeah.
you do have her available?
Who, Ayaka?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Oh, then just use her.
She
Yeah, but
literally caps even
Oh, nice.
off element on turn 1.
Yeah, for some weird
very
reason,
nice.
I was like, I want to use Dark because that's where I have a leader skill. So, I put in Ibarra, and of course she doesn't do any damage because I'm not cheesing. So, and she's not magic. But I mean I did cap it, but I had to use Dark, Fina, and Soul, and I had to use Oliveira. So that was fun. So yeah, I'm like a side note. I actually like the upgrades. I have been using these units, and I enjoy that when old units actually get usable in some way.
Sucks
Pretty
that there's no
cool.
good leader skill for Tifa to fit in.
Yeah. Well, I guess Zach, but yeah.
Yeah, but that you want to be running a lightning team with that, so it's still awkward.
Yeah, but she does give her she's one of those that she does support herself fairly well though. Like she has 150 amp of her own at least, and so on.
Yeah, that's the baseline, but
yeah, it's so weird that that's the baseline now, but I guess it is. Yeah. I think that the fact that 150 is the baseline for DPS on their own has literally made all other support units that just did AoE amps useless, unless they're doing like 100 and you're doing it for an element you don't have 150 for. And shifted the meta much more towards fields, because now instead the amp field is the big that you need, because everyone else is amping themselves.
And pretty much all of the elements that don't have 100% AoE amp feel a bit sad now when trying to build with global exclusives that get them for different elements and stuff. But
yeah, I would say not even sad. I would say useless. I've hit that wall myself. I was like, hey, maybe I should use this element, and then I realized, shit, I have literally no amp for it. But it's an interesting meta. I don't know why they did that, honestly. The 150 amps, they could have done that in different ways. They've been kind of experimenting with these weird buffs. So first it was Titus, right? Titus, and then premiums had Titus built in. And then it was the 150 amp. And whereas I think Titus was a decent way of doing it, I hated it because it was locked to turn 5. But the 150 amp, that's literally taking the job of a support. And I felt that could have been done better.
Spike and plateau for a while.
I guess. Yeah, we're getting Sylvie Crowns, 150 amps AoE.
Please.
I mean,
is that kind of the way we were getting Esther Crowns for this clash that didn't happen?
but I mean, yeah. Or I mean, let's be realistic. They're not going to buff an old unit, but they're going to release Sylvie 2.0 that has 150 AoE amp. That's what's going
to give us that.
Oof. I would actually be totally down for that. That would be so cool.
You see, not me. Even though I do like Esther and Sylvie, I just don't like dual units. Period, of any kind. Just make two units.
I don't know. I've never had anything against dual units, honestly.
I feel like with Brave Shift specifically, you can kind of do fun stuff with them, but outside of that, it's
I liked. Who was it that did that? Was it the Fina and somebody?
Charlotte and Faisless. Oh,
Yeah, because like,
Charlotte and
yeah,
Priceless definitely do it. They
yeah, Charlotte and Faisalis do it. Yes, that's the unit I was thinking about. Yeah, because they kind of just shift positions, and that's pretty cool. I think that's
Yeah.
pretty cool. The other unit is cheering
Like-
them on.
Yeah,
That's
like
cool.
changes who's the primary.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah, I think that's a nice way to do duos with brave shifts, but
yeah. But we're also not getting Brave Shift anymore either. So
it's
they
because
do
they're
seem
more
more
work
rare.
to make.
what they're more?
They
They
cost
seem more
to
rare.
make.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, two sprites and all. But I mean, maybe that's the problem they lock themselves into.
Yeah.
Just like maybe they should try to do. Hey, Gumi, if you're listening, I don't think the community would mind you doing a Brave Shift unit that doesn't change its sprite and maybe just changes like whatever background effect it has, so it just denotes which shift it is in.
Too
Because I
bad
would still
Square
prefer
says
that.
make SLBs.
What?
Too bad Square says make SLBs.
Yeah, probably. But I'm because honestly, as a player, I would prefer a true or sorry a brave shift unit that shifts into the same sprite but has a brave shift rather than an SLB. Like if we're gonna be lazy and not do more sprites, then I'd still prefer brave shift. Anyway, I think we've kind of exhausted the content of
Yeah.
this episode, right?
I think that was a good amount for a
Covered
return.
most of it. Yep.
So just the final question then, Dream and Sinzar, are any of you pulling for Nora?
I
I
might
am.
use a few tickets, but I'm not going to use any lapis.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
I
don't have
currently
enough
plan
money anyway.
to go as far as Pity because I kind of like the way that she scales, and that buff is pretty nice. Because if we get a proper Clash of Wills leader, like 2B is all of a sudden at the top of the pack again, and then adding 100 modifier to 2B is pretty awesome. So
Yeah.
I'm definitely pulling for her.
Sinzar, please be honest. You just know it's actually going to be that accuracy debuff, and you know you have to have her, right? That's what's actually happening.
Well, no, honestly speaking, that I'm not super worried about because I can work around that. Like I could just drop Dwayne and Rain and go with Ibarra, and okay, it actually would be harder now that I think about it, but it is. I definitely could
And he's
make a
just
double
like,
hand team.
I'll just switch to my other meta units.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, the problem is, yeah, we're back to the square one problem. Is Ibarra's leader skill is shit. So like
Yeah.
I could have Ibarra with the leader skill and no one else.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean that really that sucked. I don't know why they did that. Honestly, like that was such a shitty move. I mean, they could have done like 550 magic, 450 all other stats, or 450 attack, but because then it would still be decent. But the way they just gutted her, it makes it hard to use. Do we even have another magic dark cow unit?
I mean, the old Ibarra, Oliveira, so kind of Lilith.
I guess Oliveira maybe, yeah. Yeah, Oliveira is still good with the Melissa combo. I just don't have that.
He can get another 200 from Nora, can't he, as well?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh shit! Hold on, Sinzar. You have to put this in your sheet. He's probably top right now.
Yeah, well, I was talking about this on a different video. Oliveira with all the toys is now at 1,295 XLB.
Holy
So that's
shit!
pretty high.
Yeah, I made a copy of your sheet. I'm just gonna put that in there just to see what number. What did you say? 1,295.
95.
Holy.
It does require bringing Sylvie, Melissa, and Nora, though.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Regina, but okay, it's actually not that good. I don't know. Maybe you were assuming other stuff as well, but like Oliveira is actually not beating Dwayne still.
Well, the problem is Oliveira
that is just kind of lacking, and he also doesn't have a 150 self amp.
Oh yeah, true.
And his gearing is pretty horrible.
Yeah. But still getting to 810 is pretty nice. And I don't know what he would end up if you just like brought Melissa and or Sylvie and Nora. So like just two of the three. What would he end up with?
He'd still need a leader skill of some kind. He'd have to bring like either Dwayne or Ibarra or
yeah, but you'd bring. I'm still thinking you're bringing Ibarra for the 550.
Okay, it's definitely going to be high. And it's probably something I will probably record and just like for fun, next week or something after I've done Clash like 10 times with proper guides. It'll be time to start having fun goofy clears. We'll do like an Oliveira all in clear just for the hell of it.
Nice. I look forward to that to see how well that works. I wish I had Melissa just for that. Honestly, like I wish I had Melissa for the Oliveira memes.
She's pretty good.
Yeah. I've missed a couple of the pretty good units lately. Melissa, Rain.
Maybe it would help to save up a little.
I mean, it would. Like, I'm not an idiot, or I mean, I am kind of, but also,
Bold
like, I
statement.
understand what like, at least I'm smart enough to understand what my choices are doing to my possibilities in this game. I just don't give a fuck. But all right, hey, it was really nice to get together and record another episode.
Mhm.
God, a long time,
Indeed.
especially for me.
Yeah, I think you were in the last episode I was in, right?
I think you've done some news days with since we did
Maybe.
one, but
Yeah, anyway, it was like
oh well,
ages
maybe
ago, so yeah.
someone who's still actually listening to these can verify.
Nobody's actually listening to this. That's the thing. We're just doing this for fun. All right, but I think this is it, right? Thanks for chilling, you two.
It's been fun.
Good luck with Cow and with the pulls, Sinzar.
Thank you much. Hope they go well.
All right, see you around.
Yeah.
Later.